I am Megan. I'm originally from Pennsylvania. I moved to Panama almost exactly 5 years ago. And I had graduated from Penn State and with a degree in international development and always knew I wanted to do the Peace Corps. They ended up sending me here to Panama, where I served for about 2 years, learned a lot about the culture and the language, and ended up meeting Oscar, my now husband, and we had this little guy, Noah. And yeah, I do a lot of logistics and operations behind the scenes now with our tours that we run and other services that we provide. But if you do come on tour with us, I always make sure to stop by when you're here in Boquete and say hi to the groups.
Beautiful. My name is Oscar. I am originally from Cali, Colombia. I've been in Panama almost 14 years. Previous I was living in Costa Rica for 3 years and a half, working in tourism industry, hotel industry, even restaurants. So I do have a quite experience working in that field, which allows me to do my job pretty good and working with the North American market for the last it's gonna be close to 17, 18 years. So yeah, and just love Boquete, love Panama. I do a lot of the execution of or a lot of logistics, like the tour. Make sure everybody's having a great time learning about Panama, learning about the culture, learning about what is the Panama way here, and always making sure with all my team to do the follow up afterwards.
Perfect.
Mhm.
My name is Rod Larrabee. I'm from Vancouver, Canada. Moved to Panama full time 11 years ago. And the guy to my left was my relocation expert. So that really says it all. Oscar's been doing this many years, and within a year I joined him, and we started in business together. And what we do is we help people move to Panama. We help people not get into trouble. So we do offer monthly group tours, maximum 12 people per tour. So it's a small group. And we do offer private tours. And we offer these Q&As. We will answer every question you give us. There's no charge to be on here. We're not going to try to sell you something. We will just give you the answers. So that being said, that is who we are. So I want to go through the format. We want to meet some of you tonight, first of all, for you guys to get to know your chat. Most of you are on computers, I see. There's a few of you are on phones, but most of you are on computers. If you look at the bottom right, you'll see where you type in the chat. If you hit the happy face, you will see the raised hand option. What that does, it puts you at the top of the list, and you will be asked to share your video and your audio. So you can come on, join us, and ask your questions live. So whoever wants to do that first, whatever question, you guys are running the show, and we have no topic. This is what you guys are. So who wants to be the first? Raise their hand and talk to Oscar, Megan, and Rod.
Don't be shy. We'd love
Don't
to
be
see
shy.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun if we can get some of you guys on video tonight.
Yeah.
We can see who else is living in Panama or thinking about living in Panama.
Okay, April, Cindy, and Linda, I have turned your microphone and camera on. You might have to accept permissions on your computer, and then, or just hover over and you'll see down at the bottom the camera and microphone. You just click them so they turn green. So who's going to ask the first? There we go. All righty, we got April is first. Hi, April. You got to turn your microphone on. It looks like it's on, but we can't hear you. Unfortunately, we can't hear you, April. Oh.
I can read your lips. You're saying it's on, and it shows that it's on, but we can't hear you. Bummer.
Let me try to mute and Okay, can you try to unmute one more time? There we go. Nope.
No.
You got nothing. We're
Nothing.
sorry. You can try again. I'm gonna remove the permissions and we can try again. So who else is gone? Cindy and Linda. Did you guys get on? There we go. There's Linda. Hey, Linda, I think we can hear you.
Okay, my name's actually Linda, but I go by Lynn.
Okay.
Okay.
What's your question?
So,
Lynn?
my big question or my big concern is my little puppy Stella. I'm worried about getting her there and not being on a tarmac somewhere, meeting all the regulations.
Okay. That's how many pounds is your puppy, Lynn?
She's 17 pounds.
Yeah. So she probably is not going to go under the seat because they have to be under 20 pounds with the carrier. So that can be a challenge at that weight, unless the dog was to lose a pound, because the carriers are about 3 pounds and they're very picky. And also, the dog has to fit. If you have a long-legged dog, it's not going to be comfortable under the
Yeah,
carrier.
she won't fit underneath. I realize that I have to take her cargo
But
and
as
put her
far as
in
using
her.
cargo, we do this all the time. It's another, our sister company, Panama Expat Service, handles pet relocations. And actually, we're doing 3 of them this week and done hundreds in the last year. Never, ever had an incident. We'll guide you through the absolute best carriers, and it's going to be Copa Airlines. Their dog's not going to be left on a cargo. They're very responsible with dogs. And they have air conditioned vehicles to transport them in between the plane and the actual terminals. So it's a very the international dog moving is a very serious business, and they're very good at it.
Okay,
Where are you leaving from?
I'm from Calgary.
Yeah, so you're gonna have to get over to Toronto, anyways, for a good international flight with Copa Airlines. So, and if you take your dog on a like one airline, like let's say Air Canada over to Toronto, and then stay overnight, then you're going to get the dog out right away. It's the connecting flight you want to avoid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's I understand. Like, I don't think I can get a direct flight for sure, not from Calgary.
No, you can't.
But even
Um,
even Toronto takes me to Florida first, and then, or if I go to Houston. But then I've heard stories about dogs being left on the tarmac
you
in
don't want to
boats.
go to Houston. Houston is United. They're the ones that fly direct out, and they don't offer. You can't even do it yourself. They want you to spend thousands of dollars on their pet relocation company, and I haven't heard excellent things about them. Your
Okay.
options out of Calgary are simply Denver or like Toronto makes sense typically because WestJet or Air Canada can fly you to Toronto, then you stay overnight or even stay 2 nights and relax with your dog in Toronto. then get on a Copa flight direct to Panama City.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah, but if you want more information, please reach out to us when the time comes. I'm going to put our contact information in the chat. And you can reach out to us and we can get you more information. Okay. April, how are you? No, something's wrong with your microphone. Sorry.
That's okay.
Sorry, it didn't
you
work.
can still send us your question.
Yeah, send us your question on the chat.
Send us your question on the chat, please.
But it's good to see you.
It's good to see you. Okay, who else wants to join us? We haven't heard from Cindy, Glenn, Lisette, and another Linda. And oh no, we heard from Linda and Cheryl.
Harry.
Yeah.
Yeah, Harry or no?
And DJ. So what you guys have to do, we have you got to unmute yourself and preferably share your camera. You do this just by hovering over your screen. You'll see the controls. And come join us on screen. There's 5 of you I've given the permission to. There we go. We got Glenn. Glenn,
Hey, how you doing?
and we and
Hi.
Glenn,
And Michelle,
and
the better half.
Michelle.
So, we've been exploring, at least looking online at different real estate and stuff like that. I've been to Panama a few times, and sometimes we've watched those shows where they've bought homes or properties in Panama on HGTV or whatever. It seems like things I've read and or watching those shows that there's the list price, and then there's the price that seems to be significantly less. Is that true? I mean, how is that on the pricing? What the real estate agents are listing at versus what is actually selling at?
Well, there is with the real estate sometimes can be, in my opinion, a speculation. Sometimes we have some situations when some properties were a little bit higher price because the inflation in North America, but doesn't really took off. I think it was a little bubble. I think now people are realizing the inflation that's actually didn't need to went up the prices of real estate. Some real estate, they just some people like depends where you are, and in Panama, they will maybe the house is worth 200, but because sometimes people, oh no, we wanted to sell it with the foreign market, so let's ask 400. So that can happen. But here's the thing: regardless you do with a realtor or not, you always can offer. A realtor is always the best bet because it will protect you. Especially if it's one realtor that has a formal permit, a corporation like the ones we work with, and you always can make an offer because sometimes they just put the price just to see if somebody buys it. But they don't buy it for a while, you just I got 250 out of 400, and they might say okay, just like that.
Yeah. What you find in Panama, many of expats selling houses, there's no mortgage on that house. So, because they came here and they are just selling their house for the price that they want to get for it. So they're not in a rush. So you will see length on market a lot longer here, more than a year, typically a year and a half. So, and a lot of them, if they don't get the price, they're not going to sell it. But there is no over asking stuff out there. Like people, it doesn't typically go into bidding wars here.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of times room to negotiate. But right now the market, especially Panama City, the beaches area, is very good for buyers.
Yeah.
It's definitely a buyer's market.
Yeah.
Prices are lower in Panama City than they've been in almost 10 years. And even in Coronado, we're seeing things in the high ones and low twos that we haven't seen in about 5 years. So there is some good pricing happening here too.
And it's always, if you're interested to invest in real estate, always the best bet is just come here, check out the area, and then give it a time.
See what the properties are actually going for, other than the listing prices.
It's always better to do the work in person
and get a 6-month rental in that area.
Yep.
Make sure you like it.
Yeah. Unless it's for investment, that it makes sense for investment. There's an asset that you can rent it, you can sell it quick, because there's places in Panama you can do so.
So I know that answer was all over the place, but hey, that's just the market here. If you think it's way overpriced, do some comparison shopping and make your offer. And
that's the best way.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're so welcome.
Thanks, guys. Hi, Cindy. How are you?
Hey, I finally found my green buttons.
There we go. Well, a couple others. Maybe you can show a couple others where to find it.
Well, I know our time is short, so I'll keep this brief. I was told that it was good to have a Florida address because of investments and Medicare and things like that. I'm going to continue Medicare for an interim when I move there. But and I understand about getting a local mailbox or fast box or whatever they're all called for shipping and things down there. But is it necessary to also have a Florida address for investment purposes and for that kind of communication?
It's not really necessary for all investment purposes, but if you sell your home or don't own a home, and you want to get to a no state tax state, Florida is one of your options. But so is North Dakota. So
Well, that's not the case. I'm renting right now, so that's not an issue. It was just the, I was just told
some
that
people are in an income tax bracket where they're getting dinged with 7% state tax, and and if they're leaving the country, they want to get rid of that burden. So they end up moving officially to a no stat state.
So then I can just sign up for address down in the Gorgona area where I'm going, and use that for my mailing address for anybody back here in the state.
Yeah, it's going to be a Miami address, like one of the freight forwarders in the New Gorgona, Cornell
So
area.
it'll still be a
Miami
Miami
address. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And then does an email down there, does it need to be a gmail.com, or like my email is frontier.com?
No, it doesn't matter. Any email will work here.
Okay. That's it. Thank you very much.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Thank you for joining us. Okay. The last people that anyone else want to join us? And if not, we're going to open it up to chat questions shortly.
Hi, this is Lisette. Do you hear me?
Hi, yes, we certainly do.
Hi. I just have two questions. So I'm a teacher actually here in Florida. How about, and Panama's a place we've been to numerous times, my husband and I, and we are considering it. Teaching in Panama, is that something where it would be possible to do in Panama?
All depends if you're gonna teach something that is not like an option here. For example, English. There is some North American teachers. They come here as a specialist because not for a private bilingual school per se, or just work in different subjects, but we'll have to just go like we have to get a work permit first of all, and make a deal with a school. They're gonna hire you, because and then you'll be like, because there is some works here in Panama you cannot perform. It's only for citizens.
Right.
Teaching is like a gray zone, because if you have your degrees, especially if you want to teach in a bilingual school, then you can.
Yeah.
Well, you got to go through the private school.
Yeah, there are
make sure they hire you.
Few English, like, don't forget, Panama's a small country, smaller than most U.S. states. There's 4 million people here. We don't have a lot of English schools.
Yeah.
Right.
There's like a dozen of them. King School. What's the British one? I can't think of it. Yeah, there's several English schools, and they do require some English teachers, but not a lot of jobs there. There's more jobs for ESL type people that want to teach online. Yeah, you know, if you have your ESL certificates or your what do they call it, TEL, so for teaching online to other locations, and some of them are set up here, like some of these ESL companies are set up in Panama because of Panama's tax implications.
Also, you can offer the services for homeschooling. I have a friend who she was doing that pretty much from her place, and basically with the other North American kids who will come here for a year or less, and that could be another market you can do.
Okay.
Okay.
No, thank you. Second thing is relocation. So when you
that's the first thing.
Yeah, the first thing, but it is possible.
Yeah, sorry. You want to take your belongings. How do you move your belongings from the U.S.? Do you use a freight company? Do you just leave your stuff behind? How does that?
Well, depending how much you're moving. If you're moving a few boxes or a pellet, use a third-party forwarder out of Miami. If you're using multiple pellets, a container, then we can recommend some shipping companies to you.
Also check what you have and what you can get here in Panama, because sometimes it might be more expensive than the hassle. Do all that versus just sell everything there and get new stuff here, or
don't bother bringing TVs or electronics. The power is slightly different here. It's 50 hertz instead of 60 hertz, and those things might not last long. We don't have 220 volt in many places, so don't bring your electric range or dryers. You know, I've seen so many people bring so much stuff and then they have it for sale. Well, they bring
Yeah.
their 48-inch wide fridge, and they haven't found a kitchen in Panama that it fits in.
Right.
That happens.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
You're so welcome.
Okay, let us go with Cordia.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we
No,
can hear
you
you.
can't hear me.
Yes, you
You can't
can.
hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, you can hear me.
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay, so I'm leaving everything here in Dallas, Texas. I'm coming there without a car. And I'd like to know where besides Panama City can I live where I can walk to the store, walk everywhere basically that I need to go. Is there such a place in Panama?
Boquete.
Yeah.
Uh-oh, what did I do? I must have muted you.
Oh, can you
Oh.
hear
Must
it?
have muted you.
We
I
can
can't
hear you.
Hello.
There you go. Now I can hear you.
Oh,
Did you
okay.
hear me?
Yes, we
Yes.
can.
Yeah.
Okay,
The other place will be Boquete. Any small town, Coronado, so you can walk to some of the stores or just use a taxi driver or even a golf cart. I mean, there is some
Yeah.
convenience stores. Boquete will be like very easy. Valle de Anton also, you can walk distance to stores. Pedací.
Gotta see. Lots of
Many
locales.
many options in Panama. It all depends on what will be the best ambiance and weather, meaning temperature, because we live in the tropics, so it's about altitude. So wherever you have to make sure what will be the best temperature year round that will fit for
Well,
you.
I have an online business, so I need the best internet and I need to be able to walk everywhere I'm going.
Well, pretty much all the areas I mentioned has all those.
I would say a quarter of expats that live here do not have a car.
Yeah.
That's about the right number. So you'll be fine. You'll find, but you got to decide what you want. Do you want the city life,
Or
do you want the big city, or do you want a small town feeling? And then come here and get to see all these places and see what grows on you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And like words, do a tour with us.
There we go. Yeah, come on
Sounds
tour
good.
with us.
Come on tour with me. I'll show you.
We'll show you every place we talked about.
That sounds great. Okay, so can you mute me? How do I get off the screen?
Oh, okay. Bye-bye. Thanks for joining.
Bye.
Okay, we got Cheryl next.
Cheryl, how are you?
Good. How are you? Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we
We're
can.
doing unbelievable.
Perfect. Okay. I'm calling from up in Canada, in Ottawa.
Woohoo.
And I have a lot of questions, but I don't want to take up everybody's time, but they might be questions that other people are interested in.
Yeah.
I know I have to do, my husband and I are going to do our research on where we want to stay. We definitely don't want to stay in the city.
Mhm.
We prefer smaller towns
Mhm.
that are safe and secure. That's one
Yeah.
thing. So that, I mean, I'm obviously it's the same for everybody. I have a coffee importing business from
Beautiful.
Nicaragua. Yeah. Yeah. My brother lives down in Nicaragua, and I'm a retired Canadian veteran. So I help him, and with the money I make, I started a children's charity in Nicaragua. So I too need a good internet to manage my business remotely. But you had mentioned about private tours.
Mhm.
How does that work? Because I know the prices are fairly clear on your organized tours.
Yeah.
How does it work for private tours?
Well, it depends pretty much how many days, what areas, and also what type of accommodation you want to experience. Because we can accommodate you like, would you want me to take you in a Lincoln, or you want me to take you in a specific vehicle, or do you want to stay 5 stars, or you want to see the through Panama?
Mhm.
So it
Did you
depends
hear
on
that I'm a retired veteran? Did you hear that I'm a retired Canadian veteran?
you know.
No, our private tours are exclusive,
Yeah.
and they are certainly not for the budget people. You
Okay.
do get Oscar and myself and Megan. You get people with 30 years experience helping people move here. We don't hire outside help to do our private tours. We
Okay.
have to
No.
do them ourselves. So they will be more expensive than a group tour.
Yeah.
Okay. So that you answered my question when you said it's not for the budget conscious.
Yeah.
So the other question, my husband's a contractor. He builds and renovates houses. So one of the
Mhm.
things we were thinking about was buying a place, either building or renovating. However, neither of us speak Spanish.
Mhm.
So do you have access to project managers and, that would work on our behalf? Almost, do you have that sort of access?
Yes, there is people here. They provide the contractors and they're bilingual. Either some of them are actually from North America. Some of them are Panamanians. They're actually understand the North American market and style, and they have an excellent reputation. So there is people here, for sure. They can depends will be easier or less easier depends where in Panama will be.
What are you building, a house or a shop? Or I
Yeah.
didn't quite understand the question.
Well, that's the thing. So we have done a little bit of looking around online, and we would like to work obviously with a real estate agent. But one of the things we were thinking about was doing a multiplex, for instance,
Mhm.
and having. I mean, my husband's one of 13 kids. I'm one of 6, so we have large families, and they may want to buy in with us and help build, or we can form some sort of a company. And I mean, so that's one aspect. And the other one is that we buy a piece of land and we, build a few casitas on it.
Yeah. See that
Yeah.
that type of stuff, honestly, Cheryl, that's the type of stuff that you send us an email on, because
Okay.
we can connect you with quality builders in specific areas and stuff like that. Even on our private tours, we've had many people like you guys that we sit down and meet the builders
Mhm.
and sit down and look at their work, and because that's something that's very scary.
Specific.
It is scary. Yeah, you need to work.
For someone who doesn't know anybody here
Yeah.
or doesn't speak the language.
Right.
It's
Okay.
finding
So
that quality builder.
Yeah.
okay, last question. How quickly do you think the prices are gonna in? I mean, I know your crystal ball in the next year. You said that in Panama City and other places that they're the lowest that they have been. Are the prices of properties, buildings, houses a little bit deflated, or do you anticipate them going up?
Well, they've been flat for the last 10 years. That's a good way to describe it in Panama, because our inflation rate has been a steady 2% a year.
Mm.
It's been, and so nothing, we haven't seen prices like Seattle or LA or Vancouver or Toronto. We haven't seen that spike, that 50% increase in housing here. So they've been pretty flat. Right now, like just like we're talking, like $200,000 stuff in Coronado is selling for 150, 175. Well, how long will that last? Don't know. Don't have that crystal ball. Right here in Boquete, we've been at a higher price than normal. But since the beginning of the year, we keep seeing price reduction signs.
Mhm.
So something's happening here. But there's no crash, there's no bubble. It's just fairly flat. It's just some ups and downs.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I'll probably email you some questions as
Yeah,
I
for
hear
sure.
other people's questions rather
Yeah,
than take
so just go right to the website, retireinpanamatours.com, and fill out the contact form.
Okay, thank you.
You're so
Okay.
welcome.
Andrea, how are you doing?
Good. How are you? Can you hear me?
Good. We
Yes,
certainly
we can.
can. What questions do you
great.
have?
So we've been researching for, the past year or so, and actually have gone down there a couple of times, have our sight set on a property to purchase. We realistically probably won't be moving down there full time for a couple of years.
Mhm.
Coming down to visit, coming down in longer chunks, month here, month there. So my question is, and this might be more of a lawyer-based question, is related to residency. If it's something that I should just go ahead and pursue and get the ball rolling, whether that be a residency related to the real estate purchase, or my husband being retired military, we may be able to do the pension one. I'm debating if it's something that we should pursue sooner than later, or sit back and wait until we're down there.
Yeah. This is my opinion. If you can get the pensionado visa with your husband, it's going to be less than $3,000 one-time fee. Get it,
Uh-huh.
because you now qualify for all the discounts.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And in the 5 years, you'll pay for that. You have a permanent residency card. As long as you come here once every 2 years,
Mhm.
you can maintain it.
Yep.
So yeah,
it's
okay.
a
So
no-brainer.
that's the maintenance one for the pension.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Is every 2 years.
Yeah, you have
Yeah.
to enter the country once every 2 years. If something happens, you can get a 3-year extension. It costs $500 though.
Well, that's with any visa. That's for any permanent
Yeah,
residency
that's
you
with,
get.
with all of that.
Okay.
So you cannot be outside the country for longer than 2 years. And then if you
Okay.
do, then you talk to your lawyer and they do an exemption, just
Yeah.
just mentioned.
If you didn't have the availability of the pensionado, because all you need is $1,250 in
Right.
monthly income. If you
Mhm.
didn't have it, then the Friendly Nations visa with your residence, with the home would be an option. It does cost $10,000. So, but it's just that the pensionado is so cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that, we just weren't 100% sure with the pension, being that my husband's, younger and receiving this pension through the military. It's not your typical Social Security type of pension.
It's a
So-
very easy pension to
Very
get, the
easy.
military pension
Yeah.
here.
Military is
I
one of
know,
the
I
best.
know people in their 30s with that.
Yeah.
Oh,
with the
okay, great.
pensionado.
Well,
Yeah.
that's good to know then.
Mhm.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, that was really it.
Yeah, and then one thing is, when you get in the visa, and that way you have freedom, time to, move on with the purchase, potential purchase or not, but you're not.
And you can buy
tied to
one-way tickets.
Exactly.
Like you don't you have a lot of flexibility of coming and
Right.
going wherever you want. You can
Yeah.
get a driver's license here permanently.
Yeah, your
So
situation
there's
is
lots of good
beautiful.
options. Mhm.
Yeah, I just kind of felt like it might be worth pursuing sooner than later because I don't know what rules and regs will be like in the future either.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it doesn't hurt, and it's very affordable to get the pensionado visa for you guys. So might as well.
okay. All right.
Okay.
Well, that was it. I don't want to take up too much time, but thank you.
No
Appreciate
worries.
it.
No problem.
Send us an email if you when you're ready for the paperwork. We'll direct you to our most reliable.
Yeah, I may reach out to you definitely about the animal transport as well. So
Yeah, for sure.
Beautiful.
good information on that. Thank you.
Okay, Andrea, thank you. And now
Bye,
we
thanks.
have
Bye.
DJ Duker.
Yes,
DJ,
hi.
hey, how are
Thanks for
you?
my question. Good. It's kind of a jumping off from what Andrea was just saying. I guess the first thing I have to ask, has the pensionado program moved from 1,000 a month to 1,200 a month?
No, 1,000 a month for a single, 1,250 for a couple. Always been that.
Oh, I got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, secondly, will they count disability pension from the military or just retirement? Because I heard they will not, the VA will not give you a letter that says you have a lifetime disability or pension.
Yeah, Social Security doesn't give you that letter either. So, but there's always a way
Yeah,
around.
No, they did. I thought they did.
Not
Okay,
anymore. It's
then I'll
downloaded
jump-
off the internet and it doesn't actually say that. And that's what they accept with an affidavit from you that the pension is for life and the lawyer prepares all that.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay,
they will
then
accept the
also-
disability. I know many people here on military disability pensions.
Okay, great. Then the last thing is, can you get a lawyer in the US to do the paperwork? Or another way to say it is, why does the Panamanian lawyer charge US prices to process the immigration?
I don't think
I mean-
about $30 an hour is the US price. That's basically what it works out to. For the process is insane in Panama. The amount of time that it takes a lawyer, how many hours they have to
Really?
stand in line and their staff. The average price is $1,500 for a lawyer fee, and it's very fair for the amount of time
Oh,
it
okay.
takes to do it.
I
Yeah.
thought it was 2,500.
No.
It's 1,500.
Well, the lawyer's fees, the average is around 1,500, but then you got to pay for stamps and federal fees and translations, and the whole thing will come to about $2,800 for a couple, 2,400, maybe a bit less, and that will that is everything, like all the little fees that are adding up, and still the cheapest visa in the world actually to get. No one has showed me one
I
cheaper.
don't know. I haven't looked anywhere else but Panama.
I have. Yeah.
And now the immigration process is done in Panama City. Can you have lawyers from outlying areas do it? Or
It's done in
does it have
Panama
to be
City and
Panama
David.
City?
No, Panama City or David. Your
Either-
choice, depending on how close where you're going to live.
Okay.
Mhm. But it's only
I
two visits.
contacted one in David. David who says they also have an office in Panama City.
Mhm.
Okay, because I want to go to Cherokee County or Cherokee Territory, however they call it, the province.
Yeah, it's a province.
Okay, thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
Okay. All righty. Thank you. We are going to get to the text Q&A, guys. So, Oscar, I'm going to, as I go through the list, because people were entering them, you're going to answer these questions. Oh, there we go. I don't know how to do this. Marcus, a question. Okay, guys, if you want to type your questions in now, you can. I know most of some of you were, I've already typed them in. No big deal. I'm going to find a bunch of them. Order from the US. Be with you in 1 second. See, this is when people ask questions too soon, but that's fine. I have to move them into the Q&A section so we can all see the questions. Just doing one at a time. Almost done. Okay. There we go. Let's answer some questions. Oscar. There we go. Elderly care facilities or nursing homes.
The geriatric homes or caring homes facilities, they're not that common in Panama in the city because, generally speaking, all the elders usually live with their kids. They probably will be more in the future potentially, but there is we don't really know.
I don't need them. I'm moving in with you and Megan when I get old. So
Maybe.
it is really a Latin American thing, right?
Yeah, in Latin America and in some big cities, like I know in Panama City there is, but it's nothing like the U.S. standards, meaning there is no bilingual staff. It's all Spanish speaking. So there is potential for in the future there could be more of that access. I can see that happening, but it is up in the air.
Yeah, especially in the expat locations. Because here in Boquete, guys, we actually, under official nursing homes, we actually have 8 beds in a Spanish-run organization. Volcan, they have a new one. They have 24. And David has 24 beds. That's nearly not enough with the aging expat population.
Sometimes what they do is some families or people that live here, they just hire a full-time maid or a nurse to come to check on it.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. What should we bring from the U.S. when we move down there? I've heard nothing, and others have said some things. Nothing. What do you need to bring? Look, that
it's depending on what your lifestyle, what you do. Maybe specific tools if you like to work. Maybe if you're into cooking a lot, maybe a nice set of knives. They probably you won't be able to find here.
Yeah.
A mixer, some other things, but. Here in Panama right now, I mean, 10 years ago when I just got here, the options were more limited. Now is you can pretty much find a lot of things in the city, in the main cities, or you can use your best friend Amazon.
And it's very expensive to ship a container here, folks.
Yeah, so
like upwards of $20,000 for 20 foot.
Yeah.
So is it worth it? And if you're going to rent when you first come here, most places are furnished. So bringing your furniture doesn't usually make sense.
It does not make sense.
But like Oscar said, tools, kitchen stuff.
Something unique. Something you definitely won't be able to find here.
Obviously, your clothes. You're Canadian, you can leave the toques and the mittens at home, though. Hearing aids. There's another one that I don't think the people Panamanians really, besides the affluent ones, don't use hearing aids. It's just not a thing. The majority of the expats I know have gone back to the States for their hearing tests and got fitted their hearing aids and stuff like that. You can order replacements online. But even Amazon is selling hearing aids now with a prescription, like good quality ones. So they do have them in Panama City, but I don't know what the cost of them are. I can't imagine them being cheaper because they're just not very popular here. Okay, Kelly, we received a permanent. I finally received permanent visa in cedula. Can I bring my pet ferrets to Panama? Well, you don't need your any type of visa or cedula to bring your animals to Panama.
Just make sure they can. I mean, by
Yeah.
the size and
Mhm.
and the age and the breed of.
Yeah, the ferrets. Most airlines are not going to allow them on the plane, like dogs and cats. So they're going to have to go under. They're not restricted in Panama ferrets because I've known someone who did it, but there are some requirements. I would have to recheck into them because that was 3 years ago. If you're actually interested in doing it, please send us an email at retireinpanamatours.com and I will get a hold of the Mensa vet people and ask what the current requirements for that animal is.
Next.
Typical time for a house to be on the market, a year. It went down
depends.
like it was 2 years a couple years ago.
Yeah, I mean, but if it's sometimes if people is asking a reasonable price and is it at the right location, within 3 months we'll sell.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So between a month and a year, basically, is what you're looking at.
Yeah, all depends on how good the option is.
No, delete. Next.
Looking some warmer. We visited Costa Rica last year and Panama this year. We love both. Do you have any advice or benefits one over the other? Well, I live in Costa Rica, but that was a little while ago now. The difference between one and other is Panama has more infrastructure, so it depends what's the lifestyle you're looking for. Costa Rica and Panama has the same geographic areas. You have mountains, you have beach, you have cities. Panama happens to be more developed in infrastructure than Costa Rica, like better roads. Costa Rica seems to be better in what it comes to ecological lifestyle. Like you, in some areas in Costa Rica, you're having breakfast with monkeys and sloths.
Mm-hmm.
Here in Panama, you have to go very much into the jungle, but we don't have like that eco luxury experience like Costa Rica does. Expenses, Costa Rica, in my opinion, is more expensive than Panama for all the services. So I would say if you're looking for something that brings you a location and also gives you infrastructure and it give you agile to be able to live back and forth, Panama has more choices, in my opinion.
Okay.
And it's and cheaper to get residency and easier.
Okay, Rod, as a Canadian, if we retain our home in Canada, is this enough to retain ties? You do not need to retain ties to receive your OAS. You will receive both your CPP and your OAS, whether you are a resident of Panama or a non-resident of Panama. You will not receive GIC if you become a non-resident of Canada. That is the only. And for you U.S. people, they don't know what all those acronyms are. Us Canadians don't know what yours are too. We got Canada Pension Plan, Old Age Security, and Guaranteed Income Supplement. The first two, Canada Pension and Old Age, you don't need to retain any ties. I would keep a bank account. That just makes it a lot easier because Canadian checks here are not very noticeable. So I've been a non-resident in Canada for 9 years. I still have a bank account in Canada that I use for different things. So, but I'm still a non-resident. Hope that answers your question. Okay, what do you got here? I would like to have information on the in-country airline so I can check luggage sizes. Oh, okay. Copa flies 737-800s. So it can be the same as your international flight. And Air Panama, what is
Smaller.
it's smaller. The carry-on is 10 pounds, like 2.8 kilos. And the dimensions are definitely smaller or you're going to have to check it. because it's one of those underwing 70
Mostly,
passengers.
unless it's a small carry-on, you have to check it.
Yeah. Mhm.
Unless it's a very small
So
carry-on,
that's
you have
Air
to check it.
Panama. But Copa goes between Panama City and David, where Air Panama goes Panama City, Bocas, David, and Petitsi. So depending on where you're traveling, but yeah, the carry-on is 10 pounds, and they won't let you go a pound over.
Mm-hmm. Barbara is coming with us.
Where do we? I don't know.
That was the first sentence of the question.
Can Oscar help with a driver's license? Yes, he can.
Yes, I can. Also, Rod and Megan.
Yeah. If you're in the Cherokee area, we can deal with you directly. If you're not, let us know, and we will find somebody to help you.
Mm-hmm.
The best way, obviously, is getting your license authenticated. But if you're from the U.S., that can be a bit painstakingly done. But yeah, but you can go through the Panamanian way of driving school, which you don't actually attend, but it's just more of a formality. The written test and the driving test, which is a parking lot test.
Mm-hmm.
But let us know what you need done and where you're from, Lauren, and we will see what we can do to help you. When you rent a car with a Canadian driver's, yes, you can rent a car with a Canadian license. That's not a problem.
But you must make sure you're in the under 90 days as a tourist.
Yeah. You can't drive in Panama for more than 90 days unless you become a resident and get a Panama license.
You can stay as a tourist for 180 days, but only can be drive for the first 90.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Okay. Where do Canadians get their background checks? From the RCMP. You just tell them what it is for. It's for residency in another country, and it's a full fingerprint background check. But really, don't do this stuff, folks. And I've seen so many people have to do it over and over. Don't do it without retaining your lawyer here first.
Mm-hmm.
And if your lawyer doesn't know how to do it, find another lawyer. The lawyer should be providing you with facilitators to get that done in under a week.
Yep.
They should be providing you with options other than Services Canada to get your license authenticated. So again, it can be done within a few weeks. So if your lawyer can't do that, then they're not familiar with you Canadians, and you should really pick another lawyer. You want a personal introduction to one, send us an email. We will help you out. Okay. Thank you for doing this. When we fly in, we want to rent a car on a month-to-month basis and housing on a month basis to check out the areas we want to live. Good idea. Where should we look for these rental options?
If it's month-to-month, Airbnb.
For the housing, yeah.
Yeah, for the housing. And to rent a car, if you can rent a car month by month, if you're going to go to the big guys, you have more options, but you pay more.
Yeah.
If you're staying in some other small areas like Coronado, Pedasí, Boquete, there is local car rentals that is more affordable than the big guys. There's some restrictions, and some of them they're just not like a brand new vehicles, but it's still affordable, like between $600-$700.
Yeah, $850 is the cheapest right now.
Okay.
Yeah, Coronado
now is the high
cars and
season.
Boquete, Cowboy.
Pretty sure they drop in the low season.
Yeah, they'll probably drop to $7.
Yeah.
But that is, like, honestly, the car rental can be more than your rental.
Yeah.
Than your house rental.
Yeah, and then in some areas, let's say Airbnb is one option if you rent it for a month, only a month, because nobody's gonna rent, no agent or who gonna rent shorter than 6 months. Another thing is sometimes with some property management, some buildings, depends on the area, you can get the deal month-to-month basis.
Yeah, like if you're in Coronado, there's a couple of buildings there that are managed by people we know that they have, 50 units that they manage, and month to month you might find something there. But typically through an agent, real estate person, you're looking at minimum 6 months to find a rental. So Airbnb or through a property management company.
Yep.
Okay. Next. We made the decision to move to Boquete. Probably this time you should be contacting an attorney there to start the immigrant. Yeah, it's great if you come here. You can meet with them. You can bring them your stuff. It's not getting the process done in David is much easier in Panama City, anyways.
Mm-hmm.
So Dan, hey, it's Dan Jampel. You know who we use. I don't know if you met them yet. Well, yeah, on the tour.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you should have. Yeah. So let us know if you need any assistance with that or a reintroduction, and we can certainly set you up with that. I was born in Panama, soon to retire from the U.S. Would like to retire. Is it easier to purchase property? Is it okay?
It's a bit
Did I miss a
easier.
word?
Yes, you mean.
Is it a bit easier to purchase, easier than because you were born in Panama?
No, it's rather you have the money or not.
Yeah. Basically, foreigners can
Mhm.
can own property just like Panamanians can. So it really does
Yeah.
not make any difference.
And paperwork, if you have the paperwork like a residency or citizenship, will make easier. That will facilitate things. But other than that,
Okay. A lot of questions. I want to buy a home with additional casita, 2 to 5 hectares, rolling hills, self-sufficient homestead, 30, 45 minute from city, larger town, temperature no cooler than 65. Where do you Chitre? No. I don't know where Mariato is.
Bogu. Huh?
Isn't that on the way to the border? What's the town they're thinking of there?
Bugaba.
Oh,
No.
Bugaba. All those are really, really hot that you mentioned. If that's what you want, like you said, you don't want temperature cooler than 65.
But there's no hills.
Definitely won't be.
There's no rolling hills in any of those areas.
Yeah, those are all prairies. So you're looking at Valley d'Anton, Santa,
Altos de Maria.
What's north of Chitre?
North of Chitre?
North of Chitre, straight north of Chitre, Santiago.
Wow.
Yeah, wow.
Santa Fe, Veraguas, but it's very undeveloped.
Yeah.
It's very undeveloped.
It looks like that's what he's asking for.
Yeah.
Self-sufficient homestead.
Yeah, Santa Fe. Yeah. If you like adventure and you want to go for it.
And those are places we just mentioned are, they're about 300 to 500, 600 meters. So it won't be colder than 65, but it won't be in the 90s every day either. Yeah. They're not near the ocean. Like they're an hour or two away from the ocean. Okay. Question. We both bring in just under 1K as Social Security. Can it be? Yes. If you are married, your pensions can be combined in any fashion. Don't you worry about it. You need $1,250 between the two of you. Okay. I would like to work as a health and nutrition coach. Let's talk about that. What visa do I need?
As a coach, you can. As a coach.
Yeah.
Depends who and where your clients are.
That's also. If your clientele is Panamanian, probably not. But depends on what kind of specialty or degrees you have. For offering the services privately to other expats, easy peasy.
The health field is reserved for Panamanian citizens.
Yeah.
But some people who work in health and nutrition might offer their services as consulting and get away around that rule a bit that way.
Yeah.
What is many I know there is a lot of experts that work in that field and they do even online. They do sometimes just even with the community expats or just within Panamanians, they just want the service and just private. It's pretty much like a gray zone that coach.
Yeah, but here's a simple rule to remember, and we have to tell you this. This is the law in Panama. If you want to work in Panama and sell your services to Panamanian sources, whether those are Panamanian people or expats, people who live here and earn money, you need a work visa. 3 of us have work visas.
Mhm.
You need a work visa. You cannot get a work visa like that on a pensionado unless it's some very special circumstances.
Mhm.
So you would need some type of a friendly nations visa or something like that. If you come here and you're doing consulting online and your clients don't live in Panama, you don't need a work visa.
Yeah.
You can come on any pension and on any visa.
Is the pension visa? Can you get a work permit years after? I think there was something like that.
But it's only under some special circumstances. This might qualify people who have bought a business and have a social security profile and they want to work in it,
Mhm.
or a pensionado marries a Panamanian and needs to support a family member. They can get a work visa. It's very difficult to get a work visa on a pensionado, but not impossible. Okay. What is the cost of bringing our dog to Panama from Calgary? Okay, Laura, I'm going to ask you this question. Do you love your dog? And how big is your dog? See, if your dog is 80 pounds, your cost probably going to be a couple $1,000, maybe more. About $3,000 because you're from Calgary. We have 2 flights. If your dog's on the cabin, it's going to be around $600-700. I'm talking everything. I'm talking about the cabin fare, the home quarantines, the visits to the vets, all that stuff. So in cabin, about 700, and then in cargo, it's that plus whatever the cargo fees are. And the cargo fees are looking at $15 a pound per flight.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're flying from, you're going to have 2 flights from Calgary.
All right.
Okay.
Next.
Is the tap water safe to drink?
It depends where you are in the country. It's not in Boquete. It's not in Bocas. Not in any island. That's a big no-no. Some of the areas have the well water, like Pedacito is good. Chitre, Panama City. Boquete is not like it's bad. It just doesn't have the proper treatment. It's portable, but it's easy to install a filtration system in your house or have one of those. What is it called? Those filters that we have?
Berkeley's.
Berkeley's, yes. And then it's fine.
Okay. Next question. I know who Jackie is. Who are you guys? Who's Jackie? Oh, that person. Jackie is our competitor. She became our competitor. As I told you the story, 11 years ago, Oscar was my relocation expert. So he's actually has been in this business longer. So
And we are retiring Panama Tours,
Yeah.
and we are a custom company. We actually have been in these services before she did, just doing private. And
we do smaller, more
smaller
personal.
groups, more personal. It's always the 3 of us. We don't do other sources.
a lot of Canadians on that group. You think I
Yeah.
personally invited them all? I did, kind of. As a non-resident in Canada living full-time in Panama, do you still retain Canadian citizenship? This is how I answered that question. Yes. Okay. So, yes, I'm still a Canadian citizen. Yes, the Canadian Embassy still looks after me. The Canadian Embassy here wouldn't even know if I'm a resident of Panama or not. It's what it is. It's a filing as since I was in my income producing years, I wasn't retired yet. I decided to become a non-resident of Canada for taxation purposes. If you are just receiving a pension, like Canada Pension and your company pension, it might not matter to you whether you file for non-residency. It doesn't matter. You can keep your residency. Like there's, you don't have to do anything to keep it. You have to fill out some special forms to become a non-resident and not have to fill out your T4s anymore. Basically, that's the only difference it makes. And I don't pay any income tax. Because if I was a resident of Canada running this business down here, let's say part-time, they would want to charge taxes on it because Canada charges taxes on worldwide income. But since I don't live in Canada and I don't use I don't get Medicare in Canada anymore, so I don't have any of those resources. But so
Good.
Okay. People are just piling the questions on.
If I stay 60 days and I leave for 25, can I do it for 90 more days? Yes, you can.
Yeah. Good, great.
There are Spanish language schools in Boquete. Yes, we have. One is called EPA Spanish. And there is also private tutors, professional degree private tutors. So yeah, we do have.
Yeah, EPA Panama. If you just Google that, you will find them.
We've been on.
Oh, okay. Sorry, that one was in here twice. Or I didn't delete it. Probably that, eh? Oh, 3 times. I swear to God, I'm deleting this every time. If you're employed by a Canadian company and a non-resident working online, do you pay tax on Canadian income? Very interesting question, Wendy and John. Typically, if you are a non-resident of Canada, you don't live that, and you're living down here, you can be paid multiple ways. And when I was working down here originally, I had Canadian clients. I became a non-resident. They just paid me to my U.S. Bank account. There are several legal ways to do that. If you are, I highly advise a tax strategist. If you have multiple things going on with your residency and with incomes coming in, to make sure you got to make sure you do the non-residency right to make everything work right. If I do have a Canadian who lives in Coronado that helps Canadians out, Warren Ferguson, feel free to reach out to him. If you want a personal introduction, to send us an email, retireinpanamatours.com, and we can help you out there. You're selling a home near Chorrera and future Panama Metro line number 3. Yes, John, please send us an email, info@retireinpanamatours.com, and we will set you up with somebody there. Keep those questions coming. Okay. We are too young to collect Social Security. Do you have a pension from our employers, but we'll be selling our business? Can we set up an annuity? No. People are going to tell you yes. You're going to read online. You can. Annuities, Panama immigration hasn't been accepting annuities since about 2017. They used to in the past. Now, if you have a pension you don't need Social Security to get the pension pensionado. Any private pension where you can get a letter from the pension administrator stating that this pension is for life, and you might need some other documentation if it's an unknown company. If it's IBM, Microsoft, no, you won't. If it's a fire hall or teachers union, you won't need additional documentation. But if it was Mary's Flower Shop and they had a pension set up, you might need some additional documentation.
Or also just get the residency through another options like the Friendly Nations to do an investment.
Yeah.
Or real estate or a CD. No longer than 2 years.
Yeah.
Once a retirement visa has been issued, for how long do I have to return to Panama to pick up my visa?
Let's go through the process. You come here, you apply with the lawyer at immigration. They give you a temporary residency card. Inside your passport, you're going to get a multiple entry visa, which allows you to come and go as you please.
You cannot leave the country without that.
Yeah, you're going to need to come back before your temporary card expires, which will be 6 months, to pick up your permanent card.
And then once you get your permanent card, you can leave the country, but you can stay out of the country for longer than 2 years.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
If we were to divide our time between Canada and Panama, what is the best way to reduce or avoid paying Canadian income taxes? For example, how many months can we remain in either country providing we have permanent residency? We would just talk about that, no?
Yeah, no, this is tax advisor stuff. You cannot be a non-resident of Canada and live there. It's simple as that. And what Canadian government, what the CRA says is living there can be quite ambiguous if you look at their website. It should be more than 183 days a year, but there have been cases that people have lived there 3 or 4 months, and the CRA has denied their non-residency and start charging them taxes again. So get with a qualified international accountant, tax advisor. We're not that whatsoever. I just know what I did. Okay, and it sounds like you have with your questions, you have a unique situation, and you want to do it right. Copa just amount, yes. Copa will be flying Austin, Texas to Panama City starting in July, which is a nice new flight. They also started flying out of Chicago last year. Copa Airlines, great airline, guys. They fly 11 U.S. locations daily to Panama City. Health insurance for retirees from U.S. on Medicare. Well, if you're on Medicare, you have Medicare when you're in the U.S. Now, all depend what your end game is. If you're here for life, or if you're just here, if you're here part-time. If you're here part-time, let's say you're in Panama 6 months out of the year and back in the U.S. 7, just get one of the Advantage plans on your Medicare, so you're covered for when you're traveling outside of the U.S. But if you have sold everything, sold your house, you no longer live in the States, I highly recommend getting insured here. And if you are in Panama for life, if you made that decision, you don't necessarily need to be paying for your Part B anymore. You can put that towards an international plan here, because the international plan becomes your supplement to the U.S. So very complicated stuff. We've done many. Go look at our past Q&As. There's a healthcare Q&A on there where we interview healthcare experts. That was done in November throughout the country. It was an hour and a half long. Watch that whole thing. Make the right decision on healthcare. People seem to make the wrong one. People live here and say, "Oh, I don't need healthcare. I can use the free system."
Yeah,
the cheap system.
Yeah.
I've always believed in healthcare. Oscar and we sleep good at night because we know if anything happens, we don't spend a penny out of pocket. But healthcare, once you get into your 60s and 70s, is expensive. Like it's $3,000 a month in your 60s for a solid international plan, and it can be $4,000 a month in your 70s. So it's $4,000 a month, a year, folks. Don't let me scare you. You didn't catch that. $3,000 a year. Wow. Okay. Oh, you're rescinding your U.S. citizenship now. I can't answer this question.
It's possible for a married couple to have one retain U.S. citizenship for medical purposes while the other removes.
No, I've heard of U.S. couples trying to do this, and the IRS always gets them somehow because they are still married. But that's stuff that you need tax experts to talk about. I'll be in Devine for several weeks next month. Could I follow a tour in Boquete to see what info I could learn? Contact us, Eugene. If you're in the second half of next month, we have some openings, not a lot. We're pretty booked until I don't have our calendar open, but we have a few days open in the second half of David. So please reach out to us. info@retireinpanamatours.com. Can you recommend a strategy to save money on onward travel arrangement when you're planning to move in Panama? I've never really used a strategy. A lot of people tell you just buy the onward travel tickets, $15 from the fake ticket sites. I've never promoted that because you don't think immigration knows about those sites? I don't know. But just get a ramp up. Don't buy the cheapest ticket for the return. Buy something flexible.
Yeah.
And then you can change it to whenever you want.
So now migration, they always look it up if it's confirmed, if it's not. So some of them can be more flexible. Some of them might give you a hard time.
If you get pulled into the room, they will figure out whether you have a real ticket or not.
Mm-hmm.
So just don't let it. Can you touch on requirements of Friendly Nations visa or the CD option? Should we do the whole Friendly Nations visa? There's only 3 options for Friendly Nations.
Mm-hmm.
One option is to get a job from an existing Panamanian company. So you have to be offered a job and given a work contract from an existing Panamanian company. There's no money involved, just that job.
Yeah.
Number 2 is buying real estate in excess of $200,000. And number 3 is getting a CD at a Panamanian bank for $200,000. Plus $2,000 per dependent. So if it's you and the wife, it's $202,000.
Mm-hmm.
But that CD you're going to have to leave in there for up to 3 years. They only go by years, and 2 years won't quite be enough because it's going to take 2 years and 4 months to get your permanent visa. The Friendly Nations is always a 2-step program. Within a few weeks of applying, you will have a temporary visa, except with the employment one, by the time you get your you only get a 6-month visa, and then when you get your employment visa, you get a 2-year temporary visa. It's just a little more complicated. And then after 2 years, they go back and check up on you, making sure you're still employed for the same company and you've shown income and you paid your taxes and paid your Social Security. And then they make sure you still own the house, and they make sure you still have the CD. Then they give you your permanent visa. I kind of like the CD option myself, rather than jumping into buying something right away in some area you might not know, because the CD, you collect interest every month on it, and it could be enough to pay your rent.
Coming to Panama in March for 7 days, what questions would you advise me to ask lawyer if I visit one about pension visa from Canada?
How many visas have you done for Canadians before?
Mm-hmm.
That'll be the first question.
Yep.
And ask them, just ask them. I told you the answer. Who do I get my criminal background check from? If the lawyer doesn't know the answer and can't say it really, really quick, then move on.
Move on to the next lawyer.
I know several lawyers that work with a lot of Canadians. Please reach out if you'd want a referral, and then you can meet them.
What's the best time of the year to visit Panama for a month or 2? Well, it depends what will be the best time for you. It means dry. If you're looking for the dry season, well, it will be January, February. If you're looking for in between dry and rainy, probably May, June, or April, May.
Mm-hmm.
And if you like the rain, come in
October.
August, September, October, November. Mm-hmm.
If you're going to live here, folks, come in the rainy season at least part of the time.
You gotta come
Check it
here, yeah, in the worst time of the year, because you need to see what is the worst, so if you can take it, you can handle it, then you'll be fine.
Yeah.
The other months.
Do you recommend driving from the U.S.?
Well, unless you want to have you want to spend a lot of money and beat up the car and also have the time. It's a journey.
Yeah, only go if you can go with a caravan.
Yeah,
we'll say that honestly. It's going to cost you more money, way more money than you thought, especially once you get here with your vehicle and you realize what the import taxes are that you have to get within 30 days.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to have that money with you to pay them.
Better just take a fly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. We see people all the time. U.S. vehicle. I've been here so long, and I need to sell it because they got to pay they didn't bring enough cash, and if you got to pay 25% taxes and duties on a $20,000.
When does the carnival take place in Panama?
Now it's on right now.
It's on this
the music.
Weekend. Tomorrow will be the last day of carnival. Yeah. What cities? Well, anywhere in the central provinces, Panama province, pretty much all the country. Here in Boquete, we don't have that much of the carnival because the weather is cold, but And in other small towns south to David, like Dolega, Bugaba, David, all those areas, they're celebrating Carnival in many spots.
Let me explain to some of the people. Oscar said the weather's cold. Do you know what one of the biggest traditions of Carnival is? Giant water tankers soaking the crowd.
That's why.
It's actually too cold here to do that because it's like 65, 70 degrees.
Yeah.
So they do it down in the heat all the time. So it's not that it's cold. It's too cold to do that. What interest rates do pay? You can get up to 5% on a CD. Once you're here permanently, you can get a little higher from the credit unions.
All right.
You need to be legally married. Panama does not accept common law.
Does everyone?
Sorry, I read it down here. Hey? Yeah.
Okay.
I read it faster than Oscar did. We're just trying to get through them here. You guys are just full of questions today. I just can't stop them coming. CD means certified deposit. Okay, let's hear it.
Really?
Well, yeah, you. Okay, I guess I'm reading them. We are in our early 60s and coming to Panama, start a new life next month. Nothing more than a couple backpacks, documents, and money. We are very simply humble people. Any recommendations?
I mean, it depends what kind of vibe are you looking? Simple, humble, meaning budget. Could be in the countryside, could be in the mountains. This kind of opens up a lot because you can have that simple, humble life anywhere in Panama, pretty much. So it depends where you want to be, by the ocean or the mountains.
Travel around.
Check out places. Always, it definitely you'll get if you wanted to try into the countryside of Panama. That will be very simple lifestyle and humble.
Another Canadian question. Motorcycle license. You Canadians, I have it really easy. We have a great embassy here. You can get your license authenticated with your motorcycle endorsement in 3 days here. So it's not really an issue. So once you have your temporary visa, you can actually do it before. You can actually, I'm in the process of it with one of our past clients right now. The process is you get your embassy this is for all embassies, to authenticate your current license. And with Canada, you don't have to have an appointment. You just have it dropped off. You authorize somebody to pick it up. They pick it up and take it to Panama Foreign Affairs, who puts an apostille stamp on it. They also take 2 to 3 days. And
Canadians had a very easy deal with a matter of license, huh?
Yeah.
Better than the U.S.
Oh yeah. The U.S. takes a month or 2 to get an appointment to go see them. But so as Canadians, it's fairly easy. So once you have that, you'll go into a Panama driver's license office with a blood type test and the authenticated documents, and they'll give you a Panama license with the motorcycle endorsement.
Class more home to Boquete many years ago. What if wanted to drive 5-wheel to that area?
5th wheel, yeah. That's the one that goes over the truck.
Oh. Mm-hmm. It can be done. It's just if you want to just let's say bury in the lot, you can. Otherwise, you have to pay. If that car is going to be moving, that vehicle is going to be moving, you have to pay importation tax.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you want to put it somewhere where it just stays there and won't be able to get impounded.
There is a 4-year-old, I think it was 2019, 31-foot, 3 slide out Sleep 9 for sale for $18,000 in Panama right now.
I saw some, but I think it got sold.
Oh, well, yeah, it'll sell fast, but because someone's going to export it because it's worth twice that. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people get stuck here because they drive here. When the customs guy sees that at the border and they do assessments and they send that in where you have to pay your taxes on it, And if you don't, they're going to come take it from you. They think it's a luxury item. They think it's worth a fortune. They've never seen anything like that before. Duties and taxes on vehicles are between 12 and 28% of Panama's approved price, what Panama thinks it's worth. So be very careful, guys. And there are no trailer parks in Panama, really.
Nope.
Yeah. You can have your Social Security check, U.S. people, deposited into your Panamanian bank account through your U.S. embassy. It takes, right now, people have told me it's taking about 6 months from the time they ask to the time that it happens.
You do have to be a resident to get a bank account here.
Yeah, you have to be a resident and have the account set up. But yeah, good point. Day 6 in Panama.
Same Airbnb for a month. Share rental contest.
Yeah.
Oh,
Sure.
Please do send us an email. I can say them out loud. Then people always InsidePanamaManagement.com. I think that's her website. But if you want a personal introduction to somebody in that area, please email us at info@retireinpanamatours.com. Day 6, what do you think about it, NJ? Can you run a small...
Practices from home.
I guess that's sort of a gray area.
Yeah.
A lot of people sell their crafts or small products in like the Tuesday market here in Boquete or just out of their home.
Don't go open up rent a place on Main Street and put a sign up. You can't do that.
Right.
But it's a gray area. It's no different than you're at home and back in the US or Canada and you have a garage sale and you don't claim that money to the IRS. So, you're supposed to. Do you? Okay. Okay. Yes, all driver's license endorsements make sure you indicate them. I should notice this. Make sure you indicate the endorsement to your embassy to make sure they get transferred over. Noah, when does Noah get his first question? Okay, we're getting down to our last question, folks. Nope, one more.
The Caribbean says safe as Pacific coast. We like smaller towns. Some minutes we don't want to get from international airport, Panama.
So you mean the Caribbean side near Panama City?
It is not the safest. It is pretty, but it's quite remote. You have to go through some rough areas.
Yeah, that would be the province of Colón. And there is civil unrest often there.
Yeah.
Protests and
it's a little bit chaotic sometimes, especially when you go back and forth.
If you're gonna live there, Portobello, you got to go through there to get to Portobello, don't you?
There is another area there on the Caribbean side called Shelter Bay, which is on the other side of the canal. That is what we call in Panamanian yeye, very fancy. That is a better option in that side of Colón. But leaning to Portobello and others, you have to go through some rough areas and be a little bit rough.
You signed up for the tour. Hey, Stacy, how are you? You coming in August?
Yes,
wonderful.
Stacy.
How bad are the mosquitoes? Not bad. They're not. They're not as bad as Saskatchewan, where I'm from in Canada. So
in August, we might have, when we are on the beach, we might have a little bit of nauseans, but that's it in certain times of the day.
No seums.
Yeah, sandflies.
But mosquitoes aren't huge here, meaning that they're small. They are really small.
Some, yeah.
I'm used to in Canada.
Yeah, there is
Canada.
some.
They can be half an inch long.
Yeah.
And for other kind of bugs, and sometimes moths or beetles, but normal.
Unless you're way off kind of in the wilderness.
Yeah.
they don't bother you much.
No.
And we always have bug spray with us on the tour
Mhm.
too.
Yeah. Mhm. So not going to be an issue. Okay, next question. What is an apostle? Well, there were 12 of them. No, just kidding. What is an apostle? Sorry, an apostle is U.S. Sorry, U.S. people don't. I apologize. The U.S. is not part of the Apostle Convention. The apostle is like an international notary, and it's just what the stamp they're gonna put on. It's like a notary, but it holds up internationally in about 60 different countries. So Canadians apostle things, and in the U.S. you're not going to get things apostled. You're going to get them stamped by the Secretary of State instead. So, but your driver's license, they just happen to apostle at Panama Foreign Affairs. So whether you're U.S. or not. Okay. Are you posting the answer to some questions that didn't make it to the Q&A part? Well, what we're going to, like we are, I'm sorry guys, we're going to be out of time shortly. If there are more questions, I get a printout of the chat, of the other chat that's not in the Q&A side. I'll get a printout of both. So I will read through it tomorrow and see what we missed. I appreciate you guys are just full of questions today, aren't they?
Yeah,
That's great.
awesome.
English News Channel. Well, TV, no. There's 2 English newspapers. What are they? Panama News or Newsroom Panama.
Pan American, I think Pan American something.
Yeah, but Newsroom Panama is one.
That's a big one.
It's a paper.
Yeah.
Online paper. I don't even think it's in print. There's some touristy stuff in print, but there is no English news, and there's not a lot of English radio. Panama City has one English radio station
Only
I
one.
know of, 98.9.
Uh-huh.
Cherokee has English programming on most days in the morning. I think it's Monday,
Cherokee,
Tuesday, Thursday.
The Cherokee radio.
Yeah, Cherokee radio. Okay. Folks, we did it. All the Q&A questions answered, all caught up. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you so much for your time tonight.
And thank you all you joined us in person. We'll have to do more of those next time because some of you still had your hands up. Sorry, missed you. But it was nice meeting you all.
Yeah, good to meet you all. And for the newbies, and looking forward to see you, chat with you next time. Remember our faces. This is Retiring Panama Tours. We wish you a beautiful evening, successful week ahead.
Looking forward to you that I've seen that are on our future tours that we are going to meet.
Looking forward for you guys.
Friends.
And thank you so much for your time. And once again.
Alrighty, guys.
Good night, everyone. Thank you.
Have a super evening.
A great time.